think you're walking into something like a team on the verge of being a legitimate contender, depending on how quickly the quarterback gets up to speed.
They can get things right and get things rolling. I don't see why they wouldn't be competing for a playoff spot.
I think the Bears are going to win 10+ games next year, and I would be shocked if by the end of his third year, he is not considered the best quarterback in his conference, and I would bet money that before the end of his rookie contract, they play in a Super Bowl.
In a highly touted class of quarterbacks in the 2024 NFL Draft, one name stood head and shoulders above the rest: Caleb Williams. Historically, being drafted by the Chicago Bears has often felt like a curse.
Like this situation, this is where quarterbacks have gone to die. Like, you look at Chicago, there hasn't been a lot of success. And the bad thing is, you show that clip of Pace and you show him saying, this is our quarterback. I can rewind to several drafts ago, and I got the same thing about Mitchell Trubisky and him being our guy.
But this year, that narrative is completely going to change. Williams, hailed as the most promising quarterback prospect in years, steps into an undoubtedly loaded offense for the first overall selection.
I think the Chicago Bears are a team that will ascend. They should ascend offensively. Not only do you have Allen, Swift, DJ Moore, Odunze, but they do different things. Like Keenan Allen, he's not taking the top off of a defense, but 8 to 12 yards, he's getting busy. Then DJ Moore, he's taking the top off a defense. Then Odunze can do a little bit of everything in between. He'll attack the middle of the field. Then you have Komet, you have Everett. You have depth offensively, and I love that a defensive-minded coach did it.
The rare composition of star power at the rookie's disposal might just set the stage for Williams to become the greatest quarterback in franchise history in his very first season. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about what the Bears have done not only in the draft, but in free agency and building up to this season in order to make it so that way Caleb Williams is walking into the greatest situation ever. When Chicago traded away their first overall selection to Carolina in 2023, they couldn't have imagined it working out the way it did. Not only did they get DJ Moore and the ability to draft a top 5 offensive tackle with the pick they got in return, but the future first rounder turned into a golden ticket that could transform the fortunes of the franchise. That golden ticket was the first overall selection in 2024, which landed them the prized asset that is Caleb Williams.
The Bears were a 7-win team with Fields, 5-3 their last 8. I don't know that Caleb has to come in there and be Superman. I think Caleb can come in there and be an above average player. And with that talent on that roster, and those should be the expectations. I don't think he has to carry them.
And just straight up, there has not been a quarterback prospect so unanimously loved as Williams for years. And for him to fall into the laps of the Chicago Bears in the way that he did is luck beyond belief.
We believe at this table that Caleb Williams was better than Andrew Luck coming out of college. Coming out of college.
Based upon the current prototype, I would say yes, based upon the current, and I came out with Luck.
On top of that though, the Bears still had their own 9th overall pick to use, which they turned into Rome Odunze, a super talented X-receiver who completes one of the most fearsome wide receiver trios in the NFL.
This is a wide receiver that can actually do everything. And now you're adding him to a wide receiver room with Keenan Allen, who's a magician at the line of scrimmage, and DJ Moore, who's an all-around wide receiver. Caleb Williams has a really love that reset.
And as we all know, for many years, the Chicago Bears have been pretty much the laughingstock of the NFC North. And I honestly really do think that that's about to all change and get blown up, and that the Bears might even make the playoffs this year in such a tough division that is the NFC North. Like hell, I seriously mean this. All 4 of the teams in the NFC North are legit playoff contenders. And that's including the Bears, who could even win the division, I'd say. After the painful experience of welcoming Justin Fields into the NFL with very little to work with, the Chicago Bears have learned their lessons and have gone out of their way to load up with talent for Williams. Rome Odunze will be very enticing for him for years to come, but in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, Williams benefits from 2 dynamic playmakers already at the top of their game.
It's not too dissimilar for what Joe Burrow got to work with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, only Caleb gets to play behind a much better offensive line than Burrow did. But when we talk about situations, #1 overall picks, I think those 2 receivers, all 3 of them, but really Moore and Rome Odunze, present a similar problem that those Bengals wide receivers do. If you single up, or if you double one of them or bracket one of them, somebody is going to get single coverage. And I would not want to be a defense trying to figure out Which of these guys are you going to man up against?
DJ Moore notched a career-high 1,364 yards in his first season as a Bear. And I mean, in Allen, Williams has one of the best route runners in the league at his size in the NFL. And it's safe to say that this dangerous duo will help make life easy for Williams transferring into the NFL. And not only helping Williams too, but also being great mentors to help Odunze develop and just become a better receiver too. Like, it's safe to say that this is a wide receiver trio that is going to dominate the league for years to come. And not only that, but put the team in a position to win right now. Like, I mean, just looking at this roster and those 3 wide receivers alone, if they manage to stay healthy, I really don't know how any team is going to game plan for those 3 wide receivers, especially when you take into account Caleb Williams' ability to reach every inch of the field from all sorts of crazy angles. Like, looking back on last year, CJ Stroud delivered on one of the greatest rookie seasons we had ever seen from a rookie quarterback. And I mean, could we see the same thing happen with Caleb Williams in 2024? I think, just personally for me, one of the greatest assets that Caleb Williams also has, and that really every star-studded quarterback in the league has, is a star tight end. And in Cole Kmet, he put a career year out in 2023, registering 719 yards and 6 touchdowns at the tight end position. He offers up another big target for Williams to aim at, and with Gerald Everett coming from Los Angeles to add depth to the position. It isn't just this passing game though that received a boost in Chicago. The running game did too. After securing his first season with 1,000 rushing yards, DeAndre Swift brings his versatile skill set to Chicago. He will immediately slot into the starting running back role while also posing a threat as a pass catcher out of the backfield. He averaged 353 receiving yards across his first 4 seasons in the league, giving Williams yet another target in the passing game. Whether he is sending the ball deep, firing missiles over the middle, or checking down to his running backs, Caleb Williams has a very talented playmaker group around him to work with at the entry level. Like, I mean, it is such a truly unique situation for a #1 overall pick to find himself in, and one that should make Chicago Bears fans very excited. And hell, like, even a below average throwing quarterback like Jaden Daniels, who I don't really know is going to be that good for the Commanders, could succeed in this offense. But luckily the Bears have Williams, and they're expecting so much more out of him. The consensus #1 overall pick has all the talent to suggest that a Hall of Fame career is on the cards, especially when you take into consideration the weapons at his disposal. And I get people don't want to compare Williams to Mahomes, considering that he hasn't even played a down of NFL football, but there is reason that Williams regularly received pro comparisons to Patrick Mahomes, and this is why.
Sometimes with Pat and how great he is, he's just a damn playmaker.
Yeah.
Like, when you turn the tape on, it's like, yeah, this wasn't perfect. This wasn't perfect. This wasn't how you would do that. But the ability to play make is an ability. And I think that's what got Caleb to this point.
He possesses truly elite arm talent and combines it with an incredible ability to create plays from unlikely situations. He makes off-platform throws with ease and is much better at playing in structure than people give him credit for. Like, the guy is as pro-ready as you could ever ask for in a rookie, and his transition into life as a pro has been made easier because of the Bears' commitment to surrounding him with talent. The arrival of new offensive coordinator Shane Waldron is also good news for Williams, hopefully offering a considerable upgrade over Luke Getsy. Waldron oversaw Jared Goff's best 2 years as the Rams passing game coordinator, and then called the shots during Geno Smith's revival in Seattle. In Waldron's offense in 2022, Smith led the league in completion percentage and posted 4,282 yards and 30 touchdowns, which was good enough to win him the Comeback Player of the Year award. Like, it's safe to say Waldron certainly knows what he is doing with quarterbacks and is a fantastic man to take charge of the early years of Caleb Williams' development. And one thing that I think a lot of people aren't mentioning is how really Caleb Williams has the opportunity to rival a rookie season that CJ Stroud had last year. Like, it's such similar situations, and I mean, I know the talent last year for the Texans wasn't as good as it was for the Bears this year, but the fact that Stroud elevated those guys is exactly what I expect Caleb Williams to do with the guys around him too. Like, given the fact that DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are already superstar wide receivers, the potential for Caleb Williams to hit the ground running and then elevate those two guys even more is very likely. And one quick thing before we start, I wanted to celebrate the recent success of the channel of hitting 13,000 subscribers. So to give back to you guys, I wanted to do a giveaway, and the winner will either get a signed mini helmet or jersey. To enter, simply join the Discord by using the link in the description, as well as following me on Twitter. I highly recommend joining the Discord. We are going to be doing watch parties with little mini giveaways during it all NFL season long, as well as a fantasy league to win some big money too once it gets closer to kickoff. So I'll see you guys over there, but for now, let's get back to the video. Chicago benefits from having one of the easiest schedules on paper, and if Caleb Williams can handle this transition into the NFL, I mean, then they have the personnel to go out there and win games. Williams is already the clear favorite to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year award, but if he can turn around this franchise and put them in the playoffs in year one, a much bigger prize could be on the way. Like last year, we were all thinking it was CJ Stroud possibly being an MVP candidate, and if Caleb Williams does the exact same thing, then why couldn't he be a candidate? The future certainly is bright for Chicago fans, which is not something that we've been able to say much before. Somehow, despite being one of the oldest franchises in the NFL history, Chicago really has never been able to enjoy an extended stay from a franchise quarterback. The history of the position for the team is highlighted by the likes of Jay Cutler, Jim McMahon, and Eric Kramer, with players like Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields failing to come in and become the savior the franchise so desperately needs. And the next man up to break that curse is Caleb Williams. And I mean, it's just so hard to not see Caleb Williams come in and get the job done. The dude is just generational talent. As a result of the lackluster play to come before him, Williams has laughably low targets to aim for if he wants to become a record breaker for his new team. The single season rookie record for passing yards is only 2,193 yards, which was set by Mitchell Trubisky not too long ago. And I mean, astonishingly, you have to go all the way back to 1942 to find the rookie record for single season passing touchdowns. And it's even more astonishingly that the number is just 11 touchdowns. That's right. Since 1942, no rookie quarterback has thrown more than 11 touchdowns for the Chicago Bears. And now I know you're probably like, well, those aren't very hard to reach. So let's look at the single season records just in general for all Chicago Bears quarterbacks. These honestly make a little bit more sense as a slightly more realistic target for Caleb Williams. Eric Kramer is the proud holder of the single season record for both yards and touchdowns, with 3,838 yards and 29 touchdowns. Given this loaded roster that Williams is joining, smashing both of those records is very much on the table in 2024. There is no denying that Williams is walking into a dream situation for a rookie quarterback, but how far can he actually lead this team in year one? He enters an NFC North division that is absolutely stacked with talent. The Detroit Lions look to be the second best team in the NFC at the moment, narrowly missing out on a trip to the Super Bowl in 2023. But Minnesota, who benefit from the services of the best wide receiver in the league for now at least, leading an intimidating passing attack that has hopefully just found their quarterback of the future. The reality is that there is talent all over this division, and every team has a reason to be excited for the future. The good news for Chicago, though, is that even though they were able to add all of this talent to their list of losses that they lost in free agency and other places too, is not as big as the other teams. Cody Whitehair and Eddie Jackson headline a short list of departing players, meaning the majority of the band have stayed together. That is the good news, particularly on defense, where the defensive line made real progress in 2023. Chicago gave up the fewest rushing yards per game last year, and their 3.8 yards per carry allowed was tied for third best. There are still question marks over the team's ability to put pressure on the quarterback, but the arrival of Montez Sweat via trade halfway through last year at least gives them a dominant force coming from the edge. In the secondary, Jalen Johnson signed a 4-year, $76 million extension to lock in one of the most important defensive players at a crucial position. And he headlines an exciting secondary that also features Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, and Jaquan Brisker. And with only 5 picks in the 2024 draft, the team completely opted to go all in on the offensive side of the ball, using all of their picks except for one on the the offensive side. The selections of Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze alone make it one of the better draft hauls of the year, but there will need to be some attention given to the defense in 2025. With teams like Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota all boasting electric offenses, Chicago will need to bolster the ranks if they are to legitimately compete in the division. When it comes to team progression over the last couple of years, there are not many that can rival the Chicago Bears. After the struggles experienced by Justin Fields and frankly every other quarterback to take the field for the Bears, the front office decided enough was enough. They've not just loaded up on the roster to make his life as easy as possible, they have overcompensated and made sure that Caleb Williams will have everything he could possibly need to succeed. Wherever this kid looks as he drops back to pass, Williams will see only playmakers. Lessons have been learned in Chicago, and the future is certainly bright if you are a Chicago Bears fan. But I want to know what you guys think. How good do you think the Bears are this year? Where do you think they're going to finish in the division? For me, I think they're probably going to finish second. I don't know if they're going to get to that 12 wins that a lot of people are thinking they're going to get to. I think they're more of like a 10 or a 9 win team that's going to sneak into the playoffs. But again, if Caleb Williams can get that done in his first year, why can't the kid be in the conversation for MVP? But let me know down in the comment section what your guys' predictions are for the Bears. I want to know what you guys think. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one.